Welcome to another Shinobi Collection video, and we have a new campaign that's going on. It started last night, and from what you can see in the screen, it is a brand new Enbu unit. I believe this is probably the first time. I don't know if this happened before, where we got two Enbu units in a month. Which is pretty crazy to think about, especially since Enbu units have been gotten hit lately. And I didn't even make a video about Enbu, Naruto, and Jiraiya, because in my opinion they weren't that good. But these characters, well, we'll see. So it's Enbu, Shisui, and Itachi, and you can already tell they're a Konoha unit. So let's go over the campaign real quick. So we have the normal retweet campaign, and we get 53 gems, which we usually do. So that's very nice. And this banner is already out. It came out last night. And it is the brand new Enbu, Itachi, and Shisui. And with that, we have a login campaign, which is just an ore stone and a gacha ticket. Nothing really important. This is the event for Shisui and Itachi. It's not a ranking event, so you can just do it. And this is an Enbu gear ticket, which is very new, but we've been getting a lot of gears lately from the lottery event, which is very nice. You get minimum 5 gems a day, and I've gotten like 10. I think I've gotten 30. I remember. I don't remember if it's 30 or 10. All I know it was rainbow. But they also give out a lot of gears for free, and those gears are really nice. I believe I got Orochimaru and Sasuke's gear. So yeah, and then this banner. Now, in my opinion, these banners are the ones that are really good, because if you go up here, this banner is only limited to Enbu units, and out of all the Enbus in the game, all of them in my opinion are like garbage now, except for a couple. But this banner, it's discounted, 30 gems, 40 gems. You get a chance to get yourself a Kizuna, Kakashi, and Obito. And in my opinion, Kizuna, Kakashi, and Obito are probably the most game-breaking unit in this game. Like, sure, Kizuna Naruto is really good, but these units change the game just because of their unique state and the way they start with it. And they don't, like, Naruto doesn't give his party what they do. And that alone, they might be the most important character in the game. Anytime there's a banner, if you don't have them, anytime there's a banner, just like this one where it's discounted, go ahead. Especially since every 3 multi you'll guarantee a base 7-star, and Kakashi is good, and they're okay. And then these two you don't care about. But yeah, then if you're a tactics player, there was a new banner with the Hiruzen, who is a defense unit, and a free-to-play Orochimaru, who's also a defense unit. If I remember correctly, Hiruzen, I believe, buffs his party, but only once. So I'm not sure how useful can he really be, but it's tactics, and everyone is useful in tactics as long as you have levels. And then starting on the 22nd, the frog missions will not require keys, and these are the details. So with that, let's go over what they do, because I already made this for them, which is very nice. So Itachi and Shisui, pairs thinking about the village. Let's start with their usual abilities first. So their leader, this lead is insane. So Uchiha speed plus 300%, cast speed plus 3, and then I forgot the very high chance to grant first strike and insta kill immunity. So in the past, I've been saying the best lead in the game is V11 Naruto, because he gives first strike to all 5 village. This unit is the exact same thing, except you also buff their speed by 300%, buff their cast speed plus 3, freaking insta-kill immunity, because insta-kill is like one of the best things right now, and it's all to Uchihas. So now you're not limited to 5 village, you can do a mix of Konoha, which has a lot of Uchihas of course, a lot of Uchihas, and Akatsuki, which is Itachi. So this literally lets you have all of the best Uchihas in the game in one team, and it doesn't hurt. just because you're giving them all first strike and insta kill immunity. Plus all of these buff speed, like it's insane. His ability 1, Wish for Peace. Grant the true village idea formation at the start of battle on every turn. Very normal for just every Enbu in the game except for one, which I think we know who that is. Naruto and Sasuke Enbu, who still hasn't been updated, and which is kind of crazy now you think about it. We don't have a Naruto and Sasuke Enbu, because that first one don't count. He was a menace when he first came out, but like he's just not the same anymore. And then, so how good is this? Oh, and then speed plus 1,000%, and then high chance to grant instant action when attack. So the speed plus 1,000% makes it so his base speed is like around 4,000, just without gears. And then you add an extra 300%. So that's what's crazy about this. The speed plus 1,000% is usually reserved for characters with like 150 speed and stuff like that. But the base speed nowadays is around like 500, maybe even nearing 600. So now we see the base speed for them is 379 times 11. That's just insane. That's like almost 4,000. Plus you add in this extra 300% cast speed, that's easily over 4,000. So they're gonna be like stupid fast. And then grant instant action when attacked is very basics for Enbu. Pretty sure all Enbu, not even Enbu, pretty much every character has that now. And then ability 2, Eyes of Trust. Inflict illusion to all enemies at the start of battle. We know how strong that is because of Izuna. There's only, I think, like 2 units that lets you go past it, which is V11 Naruto and every unit that has potential. But like, if they don't have this as a potential, this is very nice. So this used to be something that you needed, but now this is something that's a luxury. So if you have this is very, very nice to have. It's not game breaking as it was before, but it's still really nice to have. And then chance to ignore resistance and inflict Amaterasu unique state to the attacker when attacked. So this is only to one unit who attacks them, which is okay because everyone's AoE, so you're just gonna inflict this no matter what. And then revive plus 3, which is very basic. His ability 3 is the red and black type specialization, which is normal for Enbus to have 2. And then his skill 1, which is this is the Amaterasu. So deal 3% plus 2 millions to all enemy. Ignore resistance and skip. Really, really good. High chance to inflict Amaterasu unique state. That's to all enemies because AoE. Deal 4 additional attacks, dealing 1 million fixed damage. Damage wise, it's not as high as you want it to be, but that don't matter. And I'll go to why. And then his skill 2 is Koto Amatsukami Illusion Climax. So deal 2 million fixed damage to all enemies. Deal 4 additional attacks, dealing 3% plus 1 million. Pretty much the reverse of the skill 1 damage typing wise. And then you remove positive special in God State. Nice to have. This is one thing that Naruto and Jiraiya didn't have. Naruto and Jiraiya's kit is really nice, but it's all in their states, and their states are special states. If their state was in unique state, that would make them one of the best DPS in the game. But sadly, it's not a unique state, so you can just easily remove it by everyone in the game. And for these characters, even if we get in the future unique state protection, at least you have skip, which is utility, and then you have remove positive special in God state, which is utility. That's what Naruto and Jiraiya doesn't have. They made that character all damage but no utility, which means if you can't trigger your damage, you're useless. But this character, even though their damage wise is not that high, they're a debuffer, and they're really good at debuffing. This is a unique state. So let's go over these 2 states, which is Amaterasu and another state called Illusion Climax. Let's zoom in real quick. Yes, that doesn't show, but whatever. We could try it like this. Oh, because the way I have the screen, it doesn't show unless I move this real quick. So there you go. So the unique state, this is the Amaterasu unique state. In my opinion, this is the best unique state debuff wise in the game. We have a couple unique state that debuffs like pain and Kizuna Obito. But this is something else. This is really, really good. And before we go over what they do, let me pull up Pain and Obito real quick. Let's see if this loads fast. Okay. So let me pull up Pain and Obito before we go over Amaterasu and why I believe that Amaterasu's skill is really good. So this is Obito. So this is Obito's unique skill. Cast speed. Oh, let's see if we can switch it. There you go. The Hatred Destruction, which is a really, really good unique state. Cast speed -2 to -5. Really good. Removing immune to positive special in God state. Really good. Takes 2 times damage against Kizuna, Kakashi, and Obito. That one's whatever. So we have cast speed reduction and make it so the enemies can't buff. Really good. Now let's go over Pain. Pain is this Shinra Tensei? Yeah, Shinra Tensei, I guess. I never put the translation up here. So speed limit is set to 1000. Cast speed -2. Disable positive special in God state. And then every Akatsuki cuts in. So one thing they all have in common are cast speed and disabling God states, right? Special in God state. Let's go back to Shisui and Itachi. They have the cast speed -3 to -5, already better than Pain and Obito. Disable positive special in God state, which they both have. This is pretty much the most important part. But something that this character has that the others don't is HP -30% per turn and when the enemies get attacked. Now the reason why this is really good is because this meta has been nothing but damage limit. Just because Kizuna Kakashi gives everyone the will to protect, it has a damage limit set to 700,000 to every enemy. So now if every enemy, let's say you're in the top tier PvP and they have about 26 million HP, all your damage is limited to 700,000 times however many additional attacks that you have. So for example, they have 4 additional attacks plus their basic, so it's about 700,000 times 5. So their maximum damage in this meta is 3.5 million. But just because you have HP -30% per turn and when you attack them, so you do your normal damage 3.5 million and then 30% of 26 million, which is the average right now, so you're doing an extra 7.8 million damage. So in total you're doing 10 million damage per attack. And to reach 10 million damage per attack, you need a minimum of 15 additional attacks. And there's only a couple of characters in the game that can do 15 additional attacks. Like, these are not even, that's not 15. That's only 10. We go over Naruto. Naruto is 5 times 2, so he can reach 15, which is why he's really good DPS. And I believe V11 and Minato are like the only ones that can reach 15. But them, they can reach the 10 million mark. And the thing is, they're not the only one that can reach the 10 million mark. They make it so every attack that you deal is doing that extra 8 million damage of HP. So, enemy is inflicted with Amaterasu. It takes 3 hits to reduce their HP to 0. Instead of taking a lot of hits. So this Amaterasu state, HP -30%. That's usually based on max and not current, because the way this had it set up. So that is really, really strong. This is the best debuff unique state in the game. Just because it lets you speed blitz through enemy. You put this in auto, hell, you just attack them, -30%. You attack them, -30%. That's 60. You attack them, -9. That's -90%. So 3 attacks is -90% to all enemies, without taking into account all of your normal damage. So that will let you kill every enemy minimum of 3 hits. and getting 3 hits off when you have 5 when you have 5 characters in your team is very, very easy. And before we talk about Illusion Climax, let's go over the formation. This formation is very, very good. So stage 2, you start with stage 2 if you have him 9-9. You have the normal disable first strike, insta-cast, and instant action, very nice. And then high chance to inflict 1 turn of illusion to the enemies every time they take an action. Really, really nice, especially since we know what that feels like back in the meta of GK Itachi V1. If you guys played back then, this character was a menace. Can you even see this? You can't see this. There you go. This character is a menace. Just because he stands there, you hit him, his terrain is up, his terrain is inflicting illusion to you. And then his S1 also. He's the very first character to introduce illusion to the game. So now their formation is doing the exact same thing. You stand there and they get hit by illusion. Very nice. And then for allies, removing immune to seal. This seal is a status effect. Debuff, which is very nice. I believe they just said status effect even though they said seal, which is kind of crazy. Oh, they can't see you again. There you go. Status effect, Jutsu seal, which is in a special state, and illusion. So this is another way to protect yourself from illusion. When I said there's 2 characters to protect yourself, it's V11 and then this formation. There's probably more that just going over my head, but these are the 2 main characters that I can remember. And then stage 3. Allies has a chance to inflict the illusion climax unique state to the attacker when attacked if they're inflicted by Amaterasu. That's a weird one. This is good, but not that good. Just because you have to be attacked by someone inflicted with Amaterasu unique state. But how do they act when they have -3 to -5? They need to have their instant action. But your formation also disables instant action. So what this is good for is really nothing. I don't see you ever inflicting illusion climax. Unless the way it's worded. But the way it's worded, it says from, not to. To would makes a lot of sense. Yeah, they use the word kara, which means from. So with that, the last part is Uchiha allies, skill attacks or type advantage. Those are always really nice. And damage limit is set to 700,000, which you don't care about because you're going to be running Kizuna Obito most likely. And then their gears. So desire to entrust to a friend. This is Shisui's part. Skill damage plus 150%, cast speed plus 2. So you have cast speed plus 5 would lead in this gear. High chance to skip all enemies when using an attack skill. That makes it so your S2 skips. Really, really good. And then the other one, which is attached to gear, Eyes for the Future. HP attack, defense, and speed plus 150%, chakra cost minus 50%, and then high chance to grant an extra turn, which is really, really good. These 2 gears are all solid. The Itachi gear is better. Now, one thing that I've done in the past was that I would make what I think is a good team to run with the characters. So this is what I believe to be a really solid team that you can run. So the new PvP, which we've gotten for like a couple months now, has 5 characters in it, right? So of course, since this is a team for them, they're important. These are the core members that you want in your team. So the first 2 are the most important characters that you want in your game, in your team. I already talked about what these 2 did, and I talked about a little bit what Kizuna Obito does. Kizuna Obito will be debuffing just like them. So that buff will stack, so they'll have like -10 cast speed, which is insane to think about. But there's a limit to the slowest cast speed anyway. So -10 don't really matter. You reach that already, unless they start buffing themselves with cast speed, which then counteracts. But whatever. But the best important part about them is the Will to Protect unique state, which is damage limit is set to 700,000, as well as making it so the enemies can debuff you with a special and God state. Not unique state. You get hit by unique state still. We don't have any counters for unique state yet. So that's them. And then you have Madara. Madara is really solid. go over Madara real quick. Because you start with illusion as well. It's not really needed, right? But then this is like this is terrain immunity. You really want terrain immunity, but this is to himself. But the reason why you like Madara is because of this part. This state, what did I call this state? This is a limbo Hengoku, right? Remove the immune to status effect, all of that stuff. High chance for instant action when attacking an enemy. But the reason why you really like this Madara is, again, it's hard to see it from there. I think it's easier for me to do it in Japanese. It's this part. Ignore resistance and set the enemy's HP to 1. That's another way to counter damage limit. Why not? You don't gotta attack them, you just set their HP to 1. So he's really, really strong in there. So these two, the Enbu and Madara, what they will do is they'll make it so you don't have to worry about damage limit. So very strong. And then you have Itachi, which is just really, really strong. They're sealed, and you reduce their HP to 0. Doesn't matter how many revives they have, they're gonna die. And they seal, just terrain seals. You'll be the only GK in your team, most likely. So his terrain will be up unless people remove it or immune to it. But terrain has been back in the game. Just your terrain. Enemy terrain too, as long as it doesn't get locked. So as long as this terrain doesn't get locked, you should be fine. But even if it does get locked, you can find a way to seal. There's many characters in the games who seals. This skill itself already seals. So you want him to be the one to hit the final blow when you get them to like 30% HP. So you reduce it by 30% and you hit them with the final blow so you can ignore all of the revives. So this is the core. You have them. Lets you reduce enemies' HP for free. You have Madara, sets HP to 1. Goes really well with Itachi. So if you seal, it will be really, really nice. And then you have Obito, and you just have Obito. You can always switch to Kakashi, who's a very high chance to seal, which works really well with Itachi. So you don't have to stay with Obito. You can switch like turn 1 just to get your extra steal. And then these are just the subs that you can run. Sasuke's okay. And then like you have an insta killer over here. You have state removal stat / disabler over here. And then I don't know what you do. I just put you there because you're new. And then if you don't have anything else, if you don't have a Kizuna, if you don't have them 0 cost, you can run them. They also seal and remove state. Plus they insta kill under Kizuna skill, which is okay, but it's better than nothing. And then these characters are really not that good, but like if you have nothing else, put them in because they're Uchihas. If you have them like LP3 at least, you'll be doing decent amount of damage. He's free, so you should have him LP5 if you worked on him. Shisui does a lot of damage. He can one-shot you. Especially in 3v3, Shisui can like change the game instantly. Well, yeah, most of these characters can change the game instantly in 3v3, but Shisui is pretty much it. So, what do I think about these characters so far? I believe they're probably the best Enbu in the game. Tier-wise, I believe they're easily in the triple S tier. They're probably the most consistent DPS in the game because you just hit them with Amaterasu and clean up from there. The one thing that I want to say about these characters is if you're fighting Kizuna Naruto and your formation gets negated, or if you're fighting against Hashirama, you're running an all Uchiha team, so Hashirama should pop off. But that won't happen because they're not on Uchiha. And you have protection from Obito. Even if you disable this formation, you should have the formation logo up anyway, so the enemy's formation won't matter. So that's fine. And unlike every Enbu in the game, where if you remove their formation, they just turn into a horrible character. If you remove their formation, nothing really changed. They're triple S with formation, they're triple S without formation. So they're just very, very strong. It's the Amaterasu state that's just game breaking. Just because debuffing unique state is something that's not. It's something we can't counter. That's why if you ever fought a pain and you get hit by the Shinra Tensei, it just feels like you can't fight. Just because there's nothing you can do. And then if the pain will have his terrain up. And then that will just lock down your formation. So like, it acts like a formation because it disables everything. Like if you ever gotten hit by this, it's just despair. If you get hit by the Obito, it just feels bad. And they're the exact same way. If you get hit, and that's also the problem with them. It's the main issues that I have with these characters. Not as a bad thing. Design wise, is you can't prevent yourself from getting hit by Amaterasu. Like if I look at Pain, when I attack him, he gets instant action, right? If there's a Konoha enemy, he buffs himself by a lot. You change the terrain, that's fine. But you see in here, it doesn't say that I get inflicted by Shinra Tensei when I hit him. Let me look at Obito real quick. If I hit Obito, nothing happens. Well, actually, something happens. He gets instant action, and I also get hit by that, by the hatred. But this is like okay because it's cast speed minus 2 to 5, and I can't buff. So, but the thing with Obito is that most of the time you're not seeing Obito, you're seeing Kakashi, right? So we don't really experience this that much. Because like they would switch to Kakashi 99% of the time, or they'll start as Kakashi and stay as Kakashi. Because Kakashi is better. So like this hurts. But it's not as bad since Kakashi exists and there most likely will be a Kakashi. But then here, if I hit him, you get inflicted by Amaterasu right away. That's just evil. Because now I can't have buffs up. I have my cast speed up, down. And then like every time you get attacked, it's 30%. So this literally just prevents you from buffing. And what's really bad about this is that if you're not if the enemy somehow removes your formation, not disable, but removes your formation, and you're fighting them, right? Let's say that you don't have a formation up. You get hit by Amaterasu, you get an attack up, now you get hit by an illusion climax, which is pretty much Koto Amatsukami and the puppet state. And that's the only time this matters. Is if their enemy Shisui and Itachi are so ahead that their formation is at stage 3, and now you can't hit them. So character design wise, this is really bad for the game. Like power wise, they're really, really strong, but design wise, this is very bad for the game. Because now it's making it like I can't do anything. I have to kill them, but they're insta kill immune, so I have to touch them. And I don't think I can kill. I can't go past 3 revives in this meta of damage limit. Like, what do you do when you're fighting against them? Like, it's rough. You can't get your state up. Only unique state. The only state you have is like them. Even then, you don't have anything to be immune to that. So your cast speed will always be minus unless you have something that just sets it to flash. It's just they're gonna be really, really toxic to fight, and they're really fast, and they give all of this nonsense to Uchiha. And the biggest thing too, yeah, I should go over. It's November, right? Next month is Madara's birthday month. So I won't be surprised if we get 2 Madaras. My guess is we're gonna get a Kizuna Madara and Hashirama, or Madara and Izuna. But I'm leaning more towards Madara and Hashirama. So that's 99% guaranteed, I believe. And they're gonna go rainbow like Kid Naruto. So that's one Uchiha. There's a possibility we're gonna get an Izuna during Madara, which is most likely gonna be a GK Izuna because we haven't had a GK Izuna in a while. It's another Uchiha we're getting. So there's a possibility of getting 2 to 3 Uchiha next month, which just makes Itachi and Shisui a lot better for no reason. Yeah, and with that, I'll see y'all in the next video, which is probably going to be a tier list at the end of the month. So probably in a couple of weeks, possibly, unless something big happens, and then I'll make a video about that. But the next video should be a tier list. If they release a new character, I'll also make a video about that. But with that, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.